At the rehearsal dinner, my fiancée made fun of my late mother. Her family claimed she didn't mean anything by it. I just said, all right. Then I called off the wedding. Now she's suddenly truly sorry and wants another chance. I, 32M, saw my fiancée make a cruel joke about my late mother at the rehearsal dinner. The room fell silent, but her family laughed it off, saying she didn't mean anything by it. I just said, all right. Then I called off the wedding. The shock on their faces was the only thing that kept me from walking out immediately. The rehearsal dinner was supposed to be a celebration, but the moment she cracked that joke, everything changed. I could feel the weight of years of pain and loss pressing down on me. Her laughter was sharp, like a blade cutting through the fragile piece I had tried to hold on to. Her family's reaction was even worse. They smiled and shrugged, as if my mother's memory was just a punchline. I wanted to scream, to make them understand the depth of my hurt, but I held my tongue. Saying, all right, was my way of keeping control, of not letting them see how much they had broken me. After the dinner, I retreated to my room, the silence louder than any words. I thought about the years I had spent planning this wedding, the dreams I had for a future that now felt shattered. Calling off the wedding was the only way to protect what little dignity I had left. Days passed, and then she reached out. Suddenly, she was truly sorry, her words dripping with regret. But I wasn't sure if it was genuine or just a desperate attempt to salvage what she had lost. I decided to give her a chance, but on my terms. Revenge wasn't about cruelty. It was about justice, about making her understand the consequences of her actions. I had a plan, one that would change everything and leave no room for doubt. The final act unfolded quietly but powerfully. I didn't need to shout or make a scene. The truth was enough to unravel the facade she had built. In the end, it wasn't just about the wedding. It was about respect, love, and the price of betrayal. For context, my mother passed away from cancer when I was 15. She fought hard for 3 years, and I watched her slowly fade away. My fiancée knew this. She knew how much I still grieved, how I kept my mother's photo on my nightstand, how I visited her grave every month with fresh flowers. She knew all this, and still, she chose to make that joke. We'd been together for 4 years, engaged for 1. The wedding was set for next month. Everything was planned, deposits paid, invitations sent. Her family had flown in from across the country for the rehearsal dinner. My father, still heartbroken after all these years, had given a touching speech about how proud my mother would have been. Then came the toast from my fiancée. She started normally enough, thanking everyone for coming, expressing excitement for the wedding. Then she looked at me with that smile I once thought was beautiful and said, at least we don't have to worry about a mother-in-law criticizing my cooking or telling me how to raise our kids someday. The silence was immediate. My father's face drained of color. My sister gasped. But her family, they laughed. Her father actually clapped her on the back. When someone finally noticed my expression, her mother leaned over and whispered, oh, she didn't mean anything by it. It was just a joke. I just nodded and said, all right. The dinner continued, but I was no longer present. I went through the motions, smiled when appropriate, but inside, I was already gone. That night, I didn't confront her. I didn't yell or demand an apology. I simply told her I needed some space and went to stay at a hotel. The next morning, I called the venue, the caterers, the florist, everyone, and canceled. Then I texted her, wedding's off. I'll explain later. Her calls came immediately, 27 in the first hour. I turned off my phone. 3 days later, I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop. Public place, neutral ground. She was already crying when I arrived. I'm so sorry, she said, mascara streaking down her face. I don't know what I was thinking. It was a stupid joke. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just looked at her, really looked at her, maybe for the first time. That's the problem, I said quietly. You weren't thinking about me at all. But it was just one mistake, she pleaded. One stupid comment. Are you really going to throw away 4 years because of one mistake? It wasn't just one mistake, I replied. It was a revelation. About who you are. About who your family is. And about who I am when I'm with you. She tried to argue, to negotiate, to bargain. She promised therapy, both individual and couples. She swore she'd make it up to me. She even offered to cut off her family if that's what it took. But I just shook my head. It's not about punishment. It's about respect and trust. And I don't think I can ever trust you with my heart again. I left her sobbing in that coffee shop, and for a moment, I almost turned back. Almost. 2 weeks passed. I moved out of our apartment while she was at work, leaving her engagement ring on the kitchen counter. My friends helped, silent and supportive. They'd been at the dinner. They understood. Then came the text from her family. Her mother called me childish, said I was overreacting. Her father threatened to sue me for the deposits, though he had no legal ground to stand on. Her sister sent a long message about forgiveness and second chances, as if I were the one who had done something wrong. I blocked them all. A month after the canceled wedding, on what would have been our wedding day, I visited my mother's grave. I sat there for hours, talking to her, crying sometimes, laughing other times as I remembered her life rather than her death. It was healing, in a way that no apology from my ex could ever be. That's when I decided on my plan. Not revenge in the traditional sense. I wasn't going to hurt her or humiliate her publicly. Instead, I would show her exactly what she had thrown away, what she had treated so carelessly. I started therapy, something I should have done years ago to process my grief. I reconnected with old friends I'd neglected during my relationship. I threw myself into my career, earning a promotion within months. I started running, then training for a marathon, something my mother had always wanted to do before she got sick. 6 months after the canceled wedding, my ex reached out again. She'd heard about my promotion from a mutual friend. She congratulated me, then asked if we could meet. Just to talk, she said. I'm truly sorry for what happened. I've been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of growing. I'd like another chance. I agreed to meet her, not out of any desire to reconcile, but because I wanted closure. And yes, I wanted her to see what she had lost. We met at an upscale restaurant, the kind we used to save for special occasions. I arrived early, dressed well, confident in a way I never had been when we were together. When she walked in, her eyes widened slightly. I knew what she saw. Not the man she had left, but someone new, someone stronger. You look good, she said as she sat down. I am good, I replied, and meant it. The conversation was stilted at first, then flowed more easily as we ordered drinks, then dinner. She told me about her therapy, about the realizations she'd had about her behavior, about her family's toxic patterns. She seemed sincere, and for a moment, I felt a flicker of what we once had. I miss you, she finally said, reaching across the table for my hand. I know I hurt you, and I can never take that back. But I've changed. I'm not that person anymore. Can we try again? Please. I looked at her hand, hovering over mine, waiting. Then I looked into her eyes, those eyes I once thought I'd wake up to for the rest of my life. No, I said gently. We can't. Her face crumpled. But why? I've apologized. I've changed. What more can I do? I took a deep breath. It's not about what you can do. It's about what's already been done. That night, at the rehearsal dinner, you showed me who you really are. Not just with the joke, but with how you handled it afterward. You didn't apologize that night. You didn't check if I was okay. You let your family dismiss my feelings, and you went along with it. You only started apologizing when you realized there were consequences. That's not fair, she protested. I was embarrassed. I didn't know how to handle it. Exactly, I said. When things got difficult, when you had to choose between my feelings and your comfort, you chose yourself. That's who you are. And that's okay. But it's not someone I want to spend my life with. She started to cry then, quietly, trying to hide it from the other diners. I felt no satisfaction in her tears, only a sad confirmation that I was making the right choice. There's someone out there for you, I told her. Someone who will love the person you are, not the person I needed you to be. But it's not me. It was never going to be me, not after that night. I paid the bill despite her protests and walked her to her car. She tried one last time, asking if we could at least stay friends. I don't think that would be good for either of us, I said. I wish you well, I really do. But this is goodbye. As I watched her drive away, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. This was my revenge, not hurting her, but healing myself. Not destroying her, but building myself back up, stronger than before. A year after the canceled wedding, I ran that marathon, wearing a shirt with my mother's picture on it. My father and sister were at the finish line, cheering louder than anyone. As I crossed that line, exhausted but exhilarated, I felt my mother's presence more strongly than I had in years. That night, I dreamed of her. She was healthy again, vibrant, the way she was before the cancer. She didn't say anything, just smiled at me with pride in her eyes. I woke up with tears on my face, but they weren't tears of grief. They were tears of release, of letting go, of moving forward. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about getting better. It's about honoring those we've lost by living fully, by refusing to accept less than we deserve, by becoming the person they always knew we could be. My ex-fiancée made fun of my late mother at our rehearsal dinner. Her family claimed she didn't mean anything by it. I just said, all right. Then I called off the wedding. Now she's truly sorry and wants another chance. But I've already given myself the only second chance that matters. Update. It's been 2 years since I called off the wedding. Life has taken some unexpected turns, both good and bad. I thought I'd share an update for those who've been supportive. First, the professional front. I've continued to advance in my career. The promotion I mentioned in my last post led to another, and I'm now heading my own team. The work is challenging but fulfilling. My mother always said I had leadership potential, and I like to think she'd be proud. On the personal side, I've maintained my distance from my ex and her family. They eventually stopped trying to contact me, though I heard through mutual friends that she got engaged again last month. I genuinely hope she's grown and will treat her new fiancé with more respect than she showed me. As for me, I've been dating casually, but nothing serious until recently. 6 months ago, I met someone at a grief support group I occasionally attend. She lost her father to the same type of cancer that took my mother. We started as friends, sharing stories about our lost parents, finding comfort in our shared experiences. Gradually, it evolved into something more. She's different from my ex in all the ways that matter. When I talk about my mother, she listens with genuine interest. She asks questions, wants to know more. On my mother's birthday, she came with me to the cemetery and stood quietly by my side, her presence a comfort rather than an intrusion. I'm not rushing into anything. We're taking it slow, building a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. But for the first time since the rehearsal dinner disaster, I'm allowing myself to imagine a future with someone again. The most unexpected development, though, came from my ex's younger brother. He reached out to me about a month ago, apologizing for his family's behavior at the rehearsal dinner and afterward. He admitted he'd always been uncomfortable with how they handled conflict and emotions, and seeing how they treated me and how I responded made him reevaluate a lot of things. He's in therapy now, working on breaking family patterns. We met for coffee, and it was surprisingly healing for both of us. As for revenge, I've realized I never needed it. Living well, honoring my mother's memory, and finding happiness on my own terms, that's been more satisfying than any act of vengeance could ever be. Sometimes I still think about that moment at the rehearsal dinner, that horrible joke and the silence that followed. It no longer hurts the way it once did. Instead, I see it as a turning point, a moment of clarity that ultimately led me to a better path. To anyone facing a similar betrayal, trust your instincts. Don't let others minimize your pain or tell you how to feel. And remember that sometimes, walking away isn't giving up, it's choosing yourself. That's all for now. Thank you for reading, for your support, and for reminding me that even in our darkest moments, we're never truly alone.